What's up, everybody? Today, I want to talk about why I decided to do Muay Thai. Started to train Muay Thai at 31 years old. I'm now 32, so I've been training little over a year, and I have 1 week until my first fight, first competition, which will be in Nashville, and I'm super excited for that. Shout out everyone in Asheville, not Nashville, but Asheville, that's been helping me train and stuff. But a lot of like my friends and family who don't train, and I historically have not been really a sports person, but certainly not a combat sports person. About why I would do this and like what got me into it. First and foremost, I've lost 40 pounds in the last year. I had started to get overweight, but it runs a little deeper than that. Of course, I'm excited that it was 235, and I now weighed in this morning at 194. So that's like an added bonus, of course. Though I do have to buy a bunch of new clothes, but this is a good problem. But it's really has more to do with, which, as you'll see in the title of the video, like it has a little bit more to do with like my recovery, right? And I'm working on 3 years of continuous sobriety in October, so a little over 2.5 years. I don't really count the days these days, but I know we're getting close to 1,000 continuous days. So that's kind of crazy. But the reason it was important was like at 32 now, but at 31 and 30 when I got sober, I had just wrecked my body in my 20s, multiple times. Sometimes it would be super underweight. I remember once I went into the hospital in 2021, and I think I weighed 140 pounds, which at 6'3", 6'4" is not great, especially when I've been walking around at 195 right now. So to imagine it being 55 pounds lighter, excuse me, Celsius is coming back up. 55 pounds lighter is pretty crazy. And then, through like meds that doctors would put me on, I ended up, gaining a ton of weight and all that kind of stuff. And so I just, it was not the best versions of myself. And so, around the time that I stopped working with like foster kids and direct care, and I'm going to make a video about that whole experience, because that was really pivotal for my first year of like sobriety and recovery. This go around was like being of service to others and just being in an environment that really changed a lot of my perspectives on life when I walked in there at 30. But it has more to do with the fact that like I really was curious on like what my body was capable of, right? So like in combat sports, people are, there's a lot of videos online where it's like, oh, I'm 25, am I too old to start? Or, oh, I want to start at 40 or whatever. Like, do I think I'm going to be a professional Muay Thai fighter? Probably not. I would love to try doing some like full, amateur fights here in the States or in Thailand, and we'll see where everything goes. You know what I mean? But this first competition will be sick, and we'll see how we do, and all that good stuff. But it had more to do with like I had never. Well, one, I hadn't really played any sports consistently since high school, and even then I started to wane off of it in my junior and senior year, because my high school was super competitive in sports, and like the kids there were very talented, and it just wasn't my set of strengths and stuff like that, and I had gotten into songwriting at 12, and so I realized that maybe music was a better venue. And obviously, I had a whole career in that, and it was a beautiful experience, but it wasn't like, I would train for shows, go to the gym for a while, end up smoking, and just being like, I don't really want to go to the gym. And, it just wasn't really like an area of like focus truly, And in my 30s, I was like, obviously people say in like aging that you want to build a lot of your foundation of health and muscle and like all that stuff in your 20s and 30s. And so like that was part of it. But like part of me in sobriety, and like for me an actual run of sobriety, because at that point when I started training, I had over a year and a half of sobriety. I was like, what, I really want to, and I was in the worst shape of my life, mind you, right? Like I was 235 pounds, maybe a little heavier, because I had started to exercise for a week or two once I stepped on the scale and in Florida, and I was just like, oh, I hadn't stepped on a scale since rehab, you know, and I was just like, you know, I'm in the worst shape of my life. I may be sober, but I'm just physically not doing great. And I just really was like, you know what, I'm gonna get in the best shape of my life. And there is a Muay Thai gym in a place that I frequent often, and I'd walk by it all the time, and I'd see them, and I'd always loved martial arts, right? Like as a kid, I did karate. Don't remember any of that, but I did it for years, you know, after school. And I obviously love anime. For anyone that knows me, you know, Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, you know, Hunter x Hunter, whatever. I mean, those are, I've watched literally, you see my Crunchyroll, I've got over 1,000 episodes watched like every year. So I, you know, the concept of martial arts, history, strongest discipline, disciple, excuse me, like stuff like that was just super cool to me, but it was something to watch and not do, you know, and that was like a big difference. It was like, it's something you watch, but I didn't do. And I just thought to myself, wow, like I'd really like to be able to do this myself. And, you know, I don't want to be 40 and be like, wow, I never tried, you know, I'm 6'3", like I've never tried to really physically engage with my body since I was a teenager, you know. And in my 20s in active use, like I didn't care at all, you know. It was just it just wasn't important. The diet didn't matter, none of it, sleep, like recovery, like physical recovery, it just didn't matter. And it wasn't a priority. And so as I continued, and mind you, I'm not like some Muay Thai prodigy, you know, as my coaches remind me, but it is something that I've improved in a year, you know, and hopefully in another year, and after this experience of competing, like I just continue to get better and better, for me, you know, and to know what I'm capable of and feel strong in my body and all that kind of stuff that I think is really, you know, really important. You know, people will be funny. They're like, well, you know, are you worried about, like, is it scary or to get hurt and stuff like that? And like, for me, getting sober, you know, sometimes people say like my biggest fear was like to get sober. Like that was part of it. That my actual biggest fear was to be forcefully put into a psych unit. And so like once that had happened a few times, you know, years back, I was like, wow, I've overcome that. You know, it's not something that bothers me to like certainly talk about. I was quite unwell with drug-induced psychosis and things like that. But after that, I was like, well, it's not as scary. It's not a great experience, but it's not, you know, it had happened and it had just been like a fear since childhood, maybe from a movie. I don't even really know why. But once that happened, you know, I realized that I really wanted to try something that was going to be like scary and kind of nerve-wracking, you know. You know, having been in front of stages and people for many, many years, that's not the part of it. It's like, oh, there's a grown man over there that is also training and is going to give their best job to, you know, to win, you know, whether it be by knockout or points or whatever, right? And so that to me is really just face, you know what I mean? Like just looking something that's kind of intimidating in the face and like pushing yourself to train and give it your best effort, to me has just been like a really amazing part of my recovery journey from year 2 to 3, you know, because now it's less about trying to, you know, it's like an added bonus. Like when I train, I'm like, oh, I'm not going to go out and drink or smoke or any of that kind of stuff. So like my body does recover better than having alcohol or anything like that in the system over any period of time. But it's less to do with that and more so being like, okay, like I can give like my best effort at this. It's funny because when I first started, I had told myself like, all right, I'm going to do this just for cardio. And like I weight train in the mornings, and I still do that though during fight camp. I've augmented it a bit, but I would weight train in the mornings 5 days a week, and I would do Muay Thai at night over and over and over again. And then slowly started to get the nutrition and other stuff like correct. And you know, obviously there'd be nights where I just would go to McDonald's and I couldn't, or cookout since we're here in the South, but you know, it would just like, you know, it wasn't perfect, right? Like I didn't lose 40 pounds in a year because I did everything perfectly. If I had a setback, I continued to try and show up. You know what I mean? Oh my gosh, whoopsies. Let me fix that. I've got a crazy little setup. All right, we'll go from here. I just want to do this in one take, so we're gonna roll with it. And from there, it's just like, yeah, man, like what can you? Oh, I totally lost my train of thought with that. I tried to play it off cool, you know what I mean, with the camera falling, and I just was completely unable to. But yes, when I first got in there and we kept going, it was like, all right, I didn't lose 40 pounds by doing it like perfectly, And people ask me like, well, why'd you do Muay Thai? That's like super like violent, or it's very impact heavy, strike heavy. Like, didn't you want to grapple? Honestly, it was convenient because it's by my house, and it looked cool when I'd walk by it, and I wanted to try boxing because I'm tall, and I thought that would be cool. But there wasn't like somewhere in Asheville that I really wanted to box at, and so I just had a friend, Robin, who who had trained Muay Thai and fought, in Thailand, and he recommended it to me, and I said, all right, I'll try it. And I just kind of went in with a completely blank slate, didn't know about that. I mean, I kind of understood elbows. I remember showing up to sparring for the first time, being like, oh my God, are we going to elbow each other? And they were like, of course not. We don't even, if you're not wearing elbow pads and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, thank God. I had no working knowledge of any of this, going into it. I like the UFC, but I really got more into it this last year because I just wanted to see what this looked like. I wasn't coming from it from a world of experience. But yeah, I wanted to just like document how I was feeling and the last part of it before the fight. So like, I'm excited. I'm not going into it like, I mean, I'm nervous, of course, because it's like, it's a fight, but I'm excited because we're going to drive to Nashville. It'll be a fun experience with the team. Shout out Temple Muay Thai. Here in Asheville in North Carolina. And like, whether I win or lose, what's really the big part of it is that I was able to do it, right? Like I was able to lose the weight. Is over 30 too late to start a combat sport? No. Like, do I think I'll go professional? No. But like, it's been a wonderful experience for me. And it was never about that. Like, it was just about sharpening myself as a person, getting the discipline better. And like, I've really done everything that I can to show up for this fight in the best version of myself. So if the other guy is just better in those avenues, like, it is what it is. I'm going down swinging. I'm going to try my best. But it's just like, I'm excited because it's something new. I do love being in front of a crowd, having a history being a performer. And so like, that part's fun. And I just want to see what like my medal is, you know what I mean? I think I'll make a video, obviously I should, after the fight as like a recap and be like, how was the experience of doing your first, competition in a combat sport a year after training. And yeah, so I guess in summary, like, a bit of it was for obviously weight loss, but then as it continued, it was about the discipline of really wanting to feel like, to know, after pretty much abusing my body with drugs and alcohol through my 20s, what I was capable of. That's really the sum of what I'm trying to say here, is like, what can I do if I really focus on my physical health for the first time in my life in a very positive and constructive ways, besides just being abstinent from drugs and alcohol? Because I was abstinent from drugs and alcohol for over a year, and I was eating McDonald's every night, and it was wrecking my body in another way, and so it wasn't really helpful. And now, I've just been active in the healthiest version of myself, and I'm grateful for that, Yeah, so I'm feeling excited. That's why I got into Muay Thai. If you're thinking about getting into Muay Thai or a combat sport for recovery and as a discipline and as a form of meditation, it is phenomenal. I recommend that, or any other one. I can't speak on the other practices because I don't do them. But it's just been great, and I'm really excited for this fight, and I'll check back in soon. And I do have an EP and some music that I'm working on, but I put a pause on it so that I could focus on fight camp and training, and I'm in grad school to be a clinician, and working. So like, I've been quite busy. I apologize for not uploading and continuing the momentum I built in the very beginning of this channel, but we're gonna get into the swing of it, and that's part of this too. Is that the fight in Muay Thai has really inspired me to like continue this vlog journey, which is something that I really want to do. So here's to another. It's not perfect, progress, not perfection. If you know, you know. All right, thanks guys, bye.